should have trusted the knot in my stomach the night everything started to fall apart. It was a quiet Tuesday, too quiet, and I remember thinking my apartment felt staged, like someone had walked through it rehearsing a lie. My name is Evelyn Hart, I'm 31, and 3 months ago, I learned that the people closest to me had been playing me like a rigged game. But back then, I was still stupid enough to believe in loyalty. I'd just come home from work when I noticed the first red flag. My boyfriend's jacket tossed over the back of a chair. He wasn't supposed to be back until Friday. Liam? I called out, trying to sound casual. No response. Then I saw the second red flag, a wine glass with lipstick that wasn't mine. Not subtle. Almost insulting. I walked deeper into the apartment, expecting to hear whispers or giggles or something human. Instead, I heard the soft rustle of pages. Liam was sitting at my desk. Not cheating. Reading. And not just anything. He was reading my late father's confidential files. The ones I hid. The ones he had no idea existed. Or so I thought. His eyes shot up when he realized I was standing there. "Oh, hey, Ev," he said, voice shaky in a way he tried to pass off as casual. "You're home early." That was when the third red flag punched me straight in the chest. The file in his hands wasn't just open. It was copied. Photographed. Page by page. My throat tightened. "What are you doing?" He forced a smile. "Just curious. You never talk about your dad's company." "My dad's company collapsed 12 years ago. And you've never asked about it. So why now?" Silence. He swallowed. His gaze flicked instinctively toward the bedroom. And I swear in that half second I knew there was someone hiding in there. My pulse started hammering. I felt the heat rise behind my eyes, not from sadness, but from something colder. Instinct.
Danger.
Liam stood, moving toward me like I was the one who needed calming.
Eve, relay.
"You're overreacting." That sentence. Every woman knows exactly what it means. It means he's lying. I stepped back. "Who's here with you?" He froze. And for the first time in 4 years, he looked genuinely terrified of me. I said, "Who's here?" Before he could answer, the bedroom door creaked. Not fully, just enough to reveal a sliver of movement. And then, a woman stepped out.
Tall.
Gorgeous. Perfect hair. Perfect skin. Arrogance dripping from her like perfume. She didn't look ashamed. She didn't even look nervous. She looked familiar. Too familiar. Because she was Harper Quinn. My best friend. My sister in everything but blood. The woman I would have trusted with my life. She leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. "Hey, Ev," she said, almost bored. "Guess we should talk." But the way she said it, cold, confident, rehearsed, screamed something entirely different. This wasn't an affair. This wasn't a betrayal of passion. This was strategy. A plan. A setup. Liam tried to touch my arm. "Ev, baby. Don't." I snapped. He flinched. Harper smirked like she'd been waiting for that exact reaction. And in that moment, I wasn't heartbroken. I wasn't even angry yet. I was calculating. Because if Harper was involved, if she was in my bedroom, reading my father's files, with my boyfriend, then whatever they were planning, it wasn't small. It was big enough that they needed to pretend to love me for years. Big enough to risk everything. Harper pushed off the doorframe. "We're not your enemies, Ev. In fact, once you hear the full story, you might even thank us." I laughed. Sharp. Humorless. "You broke into my life," I said. "You stole from me. You used me." Harper blinked slowly. "We didn't steal anything yet."
Yet.
That word hit me like a blade to the spine. And that was the exact second any version of Evelyn Hart who forgave people died. "I want you both out," I said. Liam stepped forward. "Ev, listen, we didn't mean."
Get. Out.
Harper tilted her head. "You really think you can order us around? Sweetheart, you have no idea what you're up against." She turned, whispering something to Liam. He nodded quickly. Then they both walked out of my apartment. Like they owned it.
Like they owned me.
And that tiny smile Harper flashed at the door? That was the moment I swore. I would burn their entire world to the ground. Even if I had to become the kind of woman they feared. Even if I had to destroy every comfort of my old life. Even if I had to break laws, break hearts, break myself. Because they weren't just lying to me. They were using me for something far more dangerous. Something hidden in my father's past. And if they thought Evelyn Hart was going to stay quiet, they were about to learn exactly what kind of monster they'd created. I woke up the next morning with the kind of headache that comes not from alcohol, but from betrayal. The house was quiet, unusually quiet. Daniel had already left for work. No note. No message. Nothing.
Typical.
What wasn't typical was the silence inside me. For the first time in years, I didn't feel panic. I felt clarity. A terrifying, burning clarity that made my heart beat steady and cold. I made coffee, sat at the kitchen counter, and opened my laptop. And there it was. The email. The one my coworker, Maya, sent me last night after the party. You need to see this. I didn't want to tell you unless I was sure. There was a link. A folder. Dozens of screenshots. Daniel and my boss, Alicia. Texts. Photos. Hotel receipts. Plans to keep me in line. Jokes about my anxiety. And the worst part, a message from Daniel sent just 3 days ago. She won't leave. Trust me. She's emotionally dependent. I didn't cry. Something inside me had already gone numb. Instead, I opened another document, my company's internal policy on inappropriate relationships and power abuse. Alicia had just promoted Daniel. That was going to matter. I wasn't planning revenge yet, but I was taking notes. At noon, I got ready for brunch with my mother-in-law, Evelyn, a woman who could spot weakness the way vultures spot dying animals. When I walked into the restaurant, she gave me a long, assessing stare. You look tired, Claire. Her voice always had that false sweetness that made my teeth ache. Marriage troubles? I smiled. Not at all. Just busy. Oh, she said, leaning forward. Because I heard Daniel might be reevaluating certain things. My stomach tightened. From whom? People talk. And I listen. She dabbed her lips with her napkin, enjoying every second of my discomfort. You know, Claire, you're a lovely girl, but lovely doesn't keep a man interested. Men get bored. And women like you stay bitter forever? I said sweetly. Her eyes widened, then narrowed.
Good.
Let her see I wasn't breaking. You should work on your attitude, she snapped. I am, I said, standing. Starting today. I left her with the bill. Something Daniel never dared to do, and walked out feeling strangely alive. When I got home, Daniel's car was already in the driveway. Of course. He wanted control over the narrative before I could form one myself. He was waiting in the living room, arms crossed, jaw clenched. We need to talk, he said. Then talk. He hesitated, a flicker of guilt, then irritation. Why did you leave my mom like that? She called me furious.
She'll survive, I said.
Anything else? He inhaled sharply. Claire, you've been difficult lately. Emotional. Irrational. There was the gaslighting script I knew by heart. Irrational. I repeated.
Yes.
My job is demanding. I can't keep managing your insecurities. You need help, Claire. Real help. I studied him.
Calm.
Still. Silent long enough for him to wonder what I knew. Then I said, Is this what Alicia tells you? Or do you come up with it yourself? His face drained of color. So I continued, softly. Should we discuss the hotel receipts first? Or the messages about how I'm emotionally dependent? I liked that one. Very poetic. He swallowed hard. Claire, it's not what you think. It's exactly what I think. He stepped toward me, hands raised in a pacifying gesture. Let's sit down. Work this out. Don't do anything stupid. Stupid. I laughed. Danny, sweetheart, I'm just getting started. For the first time since I met him, I saw fear in his eyes. Real fear. Good. Let him feel a fraction of what he made me feel for years. That night, while he slept in the guest room, I packed a small bag. Only essentials.
Passport.
Birth certificate.
Laptop.
A flash drive with every file, screenshot, and audio recording that would ruin Daniel and Alicia in one blow. I wasn't ready to strike yet, but I was ready to leave. And when I stepped out of the house at dawn, for the first time in a decade, I could breathe. The air tasted like freedom and revenge. I didn't drive far that morning, just far enough that the highway looked unfamiliar and the weight of Daniel's shadow finally lifted off my chest. I ended up in a small coastal town 2 hours away, the kind of place where people walked slowly, breathed deeply, and minded their own business. Exactly what I needed. I checked into a cheap motel under my maiden name, the one I hadn't used in 9 years, the one Daniel had practically erased from my identity.
Claire Hart.
It felt strange, but right. The room smelled like salt and old furniture, but it had a lock that only I controlled. I dropped onto the bed and stared at the ceiling until the tension slowly melted from my muscles. For the first time in years, my phone wasn't buzzing with demands, criticism, or guilt. Silence. Beautiful, peaceful silence. Then buzzing. Of course. Daniel. 10 missed calls. 2 voicemails. 5 messages oscillating between fake concern and thinly veiled threats. Claire, this is ridiculous. Come home so we can fix this. You're overreacting. Don't do anything impulsive. I'm serious. You're making things worse. I blocked him. Then Alicia tried calling. I blocked her too. I wasn't ready for a fight yet, but they had no idea I was already preparing for one. The next day, I walked into a small cafe by the pier, the kind that smelled like cinnamon and fresh espresso. I sat by the window, opened my laptop, and began sorting through the evidence. Screenshots, emails, recordings I'd made without even realizing why I saved them. The HR policy I had memorized. The company's anti-fraternization rules. The annual evaluation documents that Alicia had manipulated. Piece by piece, a strategy formed in my mind like a dark, beautiful puzzle. I wasn't going to expose them yet.
No.
I wanted to watch them unravel first. Everything okay? A voice asked. I looked up. A man stood beside my table, early 30s, tall, messy hair, a warm smile that didn't feel intrusive. You've been staring at your screen like it insulted you, he said. I forced a small smile. Rough week. He nodded.
I'm Noah.
I own this place.
Of course he did.
He had that soft, grounded confidence of someone who wasn't trying to prove anything. I'm Claire, I said. Well, Claire, whatever you're dealing with, we make good coffee. And better muffins. He left before I could reply. No questions.
No judgments.
Strange. Refreshing. Unsettling. Over the next few days, the cafe became my quiet war room. Noah seemed to sense I needed space, so he simply brought refills without asking, sometimes offering a small smile that made something warm flicker in my chest, something I hadn't felt in a long time. But I didn't come here for comfort. I came to rebuild. And so I did. I updated my resume, reached out to old contacts, found a few freelance projects, started saving every dollar, opened a bank account Daniel didn't know existed. And then came the big step. A legal consultation. I sat across from a local attorney, a woman with sharp eyes and a sharper mind, and laid out every detail. Her face went from sympathetic to surprised to impressed. Claire, she said slowly, you have enough evidence to bury both your husband and his boss. And to protect yourself financially. That's the plan? I said quietly.
She leaned back.
You're calmer than most women in your situation. I smiled. That's because I'm not planning to survive this quietly. I'm planning to win. She nodded, almost respectfully. Then let's build your case. By the end of the week, Daniel's messages had escalated from confusion to fury to desperation. His last voicemail chilled me. Claire, stop this. You're not thinking clearly. I know you're upset, but you need to come home. We can pretend this never happened. I'll forgive you. Forgive me. Unbelievable. I laughed so hard the motel staff probably heard me. Then I deleted the voicemail after saving a copy to my growing insurance folder. I knew what Daniel was thinking. If he couldn't control me emotionally, he'd try legally, financially, socially. Too bad for him. I was always smarter than he believed. One evening, as I left the cafe, Noah walked beside me toward the pier. "Long day?" he asked. "Long life," I joked. He chuckled softly. "If you ever want to talk or not talk and just sit somewhere that isn't a motel with questionable bedding, let me know." I raised an eyebrow. "Is that a cafe owner offer or a personal one?" He hesitated, but only for a second. "Personal." It should have scared me. I was still bruised, still bleeding on the inside, still technically married to a man who would set the world on fire if he thought it would light his way back to me. But instead of fear, I felt something else. Hope. Small, fragile, dangerous hope. "I'll think about it," I said. And I meant it. That night, I sat at the pier alone, watching the waves crash against the rocks. My bag was next to me, and inside it my future. My documents. My evidence. My freedom. My revenge. I wasn't the broken woman Daniel expected me to be. I was a storm gathering strength. And when I returned, when I finally walked back into my old life, I wouldn't be the wife he controlled. I would be the woman who destroyed him. I returned home exactly 32 days after I left. Not because I missed Daniel. Not because I wanted closure. But because revenge requires timing, and mine was perfect. I parked 2 blocks away from the house we once shared, the house he swore we'd grow old in. Now it looked smaller, weaker, like all illusions do when the truth finally burns through them. I wasn't the Claire who walked out the door a month ago. That woman was exhausted, scared, and shattered. This one? Focused. Calculated. Untouchable. I walked up the driveway with steady steps and rang the doorbell. Daniel opened the door within seconds, like he'd been waiting behind it this whole time. His eyes widened, disbelief flooding his face. "Claire? You came back?" "Yes," I said calmly. "We need to talk." He stepped aside instantly, desperate, hopeful, stupid. I walked in without looking at him, my gaze sweeping over the living room. New pillows, new curtains, new vase with ugly artificial flowers, a pathetic attempt to erase me. "How have you been?" he asked carefully. "Busy," I said. He swallowed. "Claire, I'm glad you're here. I've been thinking. We can fix this. We can." I held up a hand.
No.
"We can't." He blinked, stunned. "But you came back." "I did," I said, "to end this properly." His mouth opened, closed, then tightened. "Claire, don't do anything rash. Remember, you don't have proof of." "Oh, Daniel," I said gently. "I have everything." I set my bag on the table and pulled out the flash drive, the one with every screenshot, voicemail, recording, and document. His eyes locked onto it like it was a weapon pointed at his head. "Do you want to hear something?" I asked. I played the voicemail he left me last month. "You're making things worse. Come home, so we can pretend this never happened. I'll forgive you." His face turned gray. "Claire," I was upset. "You were sloppy," I corrected. Before he could say another word, the doorbell rang. Daniel flinched. "Who?" "Oh," I said casually. "I invited some people." He opened the door and froze. "My attorney, 2 HR directors from his company, and Alicia's supervisor." Daniel looked like someone had kicked his legs out from under him. You can't be serious," he whispered. I walked past him, shaking hands with each of them. "Thank you for coming," I said. "This won't take long." Daniel's jaw clenched. "Claire, don't do this. You'll ruin my career." "No," I said softly. "You did that." I plugged the flash drive into the TV. The room lit up with screenshots of his messages with Alicia. Alicia, 7:14 p.m. "She won't leave. She needs him too much." Daniel, 7:19 p.m.
Exactly.
"She's not going anywhere." Then the photos. The hotel receipts. The evaluations Alicia manipulated. The timeline of their affair. Daniel sank onto the couch, hands in his hair, breathing like he was drowning. Alicia's supervisor took a deep breath. This is substantial. My attorney stepped forward. Mrs. Hart is prepared to cooperate fully. Daniel lifted his head, eyes bloodshot. Claire, please. Don't do this. I can fix it. I'll go to therapy. I'll change. I stared at him for a long moment. You keep assuming I want you, I said finally. I don't. It took 30 minutes for the HR directors to outline their plan. Daniel's suspension. Alicia's immediate removal. An internal investigation that was clearly going to end their careers. When they left, Daniel collapsed to his knees. Claire, he whispered, tears in his eyes. You can't leave me like this. I need you. I stepped back. No, I said. You needed my silence. And that's gone. I picked up my bag, walked to the door, paused only once. You said I was emotionally dependent, I said quietly. But the truth is, Daniel, you were. His face crumpled. I walked out without looking back. I drove straight to the coastal town, straight to the cafe. And when I walked in, Noah looked up from the counter, that warm, steady smile spreading across his face. You're back, he said. I am, I said. He wiped his hands on a towel, came around the counter, and stopped in front of me. How did it go? I exhaled, the weight finally sliding off my shoulders. I ended it, I said. All of it. He nodded once.
Good.
For the first time in months, I felt my chest loosen. I felt light.
Alive. New.
Noah, I said softly. Yes. Can we start over? His smile deepened. We can start anything you want. And just like that, the door to my old life closed behind me, quiet, final, and forever. I wasn't the perfect wife anymore. I wasn't the scared woman who stayed too long. I was someone reborn. Someone dangerous. Someone free. Someone who took her life back piece by piece and burned the rest to the ground.